Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls from Lima Shenanigans of 1977, it's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time for the NXT Event Center Wrestling Report. And now here's the man that will bring you all the wrestling happenings from the WWE Superstars of tomorrow, Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Lima Shenanigans, 1977, episode 2393 of the show. 7 episodes away from 2,400 episodes. That will be that'll be a happening at the end of the week. So check us out there. A couple of notes. I want to let you know, as a member of the Rant and Rave podcast, that there'll be a couple of minor changes that we have in the next 2 episodes of the Rant and Rave podcast. I know it's like, okay, you got off episode 300, and so we are going to have an early start time at 6 p.m. this coming Thursday, Eastern Time. Why? At 6:30, we'll be interviewing one of the most legendary wrestling tag teams of the 80s and in the WWE during that time. Would be none other than Axe and Smash of Demolition. I think it's going to be a highly educating interview. It's going to be a great interview. We're hoping to ask the right questions. We're hoping that we be respectful, and I'm hoping that everything goes well with Axe and Smash. So special start time 6 p.m. Please tune in on the Brandon Martin channel on YouTube if you can. Episode 302. Now, here's the 411. I just got it's going to finish being messaged by Brandon Martin on this one. So Brandon Martin and Jordan Little, a.k.a. Jordy Scow, call the shots. They're both co-creators, directors. Jordan made some suggestions. 1, because of the interview with Headbanger Amash and the length of that interview, Jordan has decided that 1, there'll be no individual topics. Also for the Demolition interview as well. No individual topics from any of us on the panel. That's fine. I'm cool with that. 2, I will be given the night off on episode 302. That's the bad news. But the good news is I will still be on episode 302. Here's why. The interview with Headbanger Masha was just Brandon, Jordan, and myself. We taped it last week, but you will see the interview in its entirety on episode 302. So technically I'm on there, but I have the night off live. So that will free me up to watch TNA and do my episode there. So I am cool with that. So that will be on the 24th of July. So that's going to be pretty good. Plus, being on 8 hours for Rant and Rave this past Thursday, I can use a night off from Rant and Rave. So I have no problem with that. So, but I do not want to hear any complaints about me taking the night off, okay? Because that was not my call. It was Brandon and Jordan's call, which is fine by me. So, just because, if it's for sole reason of roasting me, well, guess what? There'll be no roasting me. I'll be roast-free July 24th. I'll be roast-free then. So, I'll be roast-free from the live chat, roast-free from Romy, and roast-free from Chayton. And Dan, too. Yay! So, then you can't roast me, you can't roast me, then you can't roast me, you can't roast me, no, I'm not going to be roasted. You can't roast me, you can't roast me, no, you can't roast me. It'll be a whole lot of fun, trust me. And holy mackerel. Okay, we got to talk about the NXT fallout from the Great American Bash and Evolution. And boy, it's going to be a little bit insane. Now, Fatal Influence kicks off NXT. JC Jane, a.k.a. the Blossom wannabe, not the Powerpuff Girl, but the NBC sitcom Blossom back in the 90s. You know, Fallon Henley looks like a little bit like 6'2". Hey, not the height, but Fallon Henley looks like 6 from Blossom as well, with the longer hair. And she's running, and Chasey Jane's running her mouth about being NXT champion, NXT Women's Champion, blah, 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 blah. And then the TNA Knockouts Champion, Masa Slamovich, interrupts her, and she goes, the reason why you still have that title because Blake Monroe hit Jordan Grace in the back with that title. It took 4 of you to win the match. So I'm going, alrighty then, let's have some fun. And then so Ruka and Zarya came out, and they're talking smack to Fatal Influence, and all 6 ladies had a brawl, and Ava's going, I have an idea. And then there was part 1, as you know, the D'Angelo family, kaput, no more. They have a family business triple threat match that Adriana Rizzo set up. I'll get to that in a few moments. And part 1 was birth of the Don. Tony D'Angelo cut a promo on how he became the Don. And in a 6-man tag, Trick Williams and Joe Hendry. Trick Williams, the TNA champ, will teams up with Joe Hendry and Mike Santana to face 3 members of Dark State. And in this case, it was Shaquan Sugars, Dion Lennox, and Osiris Griffin. And Trick Williams' tomfoolery had gotten himself knocked out by his two challengers for this Sunday's TNA Slammiversary as they go for a triple threat for the TNA Championship. But then the system gets involved. And it was JDC, Eddie Edwards, and Brian Myers jumping the ring, fighting off Dark State. It seems like to me that Dark State's pissed off a lot of people in TNA about being a great faction. How come Moose didn't join them? All 4 of them would have been nice. I say this, let's get it done at Survivor Series one of these days. The System versus Dark State. A traditional elimination tag. Come on. I know it's a few months down the road. It's like 4 months down the road, but we gotta get this crossover into the main roster and not this to NXT. Come on now. Let's put those 8 guys in a Survivor Series matchup. The System versus Dark State. Come on, let's make it happen. Come on, WWE. What the heck are you thinking? And Ariana Grace was talking to the women's locker room about what happened at the Battle Royal, and then Karen Petrovic agreed. So how come, they couldn't have a little shing action? Then Callie Armstrong was there running her mouth and mouthing off at Karen Petrovic. She goes, you know what? I'll talk to Ava then. I'll get you one-on-one. But Jordan Grace arrived at the arena, and she was ticked off. And I said at the conclusion of the last episode of the show that when I would advertise about talking about NXT, if I were Blake Monroe, I wouldn't show up at the Performance Center. Just saying. And then part 2 is Enter the Underboss, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, and Tony D'Angelo talking about how he brought him in. So, then the Evolve Women's Championship on the line for the very first time in NXT television, as Kelly Armstrong defended it against Carmen Petrovic. But it was a heck of a matchup until Jordan Grace came out, grabbed Kelly Armstrong, attacking her first, giving her the victory by a disqualification over Carmen Petrovic, and then she attacked Petrovic as well, which prompted Petrovic says, Jordan Grace playtime's over. And then she's calling out Blake Monroe. And then Stevie Turner and Mr. Robert Stone came out to try to reason with Jordan Grace. And then Blake Monroe's got a little video vignette. And Blake Monroe was there to respond to Jordan Grace. I'm going to show you next week when I make my singles in-ring debut on NXT in Houston, Texas, what I'm all about. And then Jordan Grace, well, after Turner and Mr. Stone and some security trying to reason with her, she knocks out both Stevie Turner and Mr. Robert Stone. And then Ava's coming out confronting her with more security, and Jordan Grace is ticked off. I'm telling you, Jordan Grace, I don't blame her. I don't blame her being that upset. And then Team Undertaker from LFG Season 2, Danny Ray, Bailey Humphrey, Shiloh Hill, and Drake Moreau were talking about, how insane crazy it is. Trick Williams interrupts them, starts talking smack to them, and then starts dissing The Undertaker as well. Do you think that was wise, Trick Williams, to disrespect The Undertaker's team? Well, that prompted The Undertaker says, you disrespect my team, you disrespect me. I'll see you in Houston. It's going to be a confrontation. Trick Williams and The Undertaker. Oh, boy. Trick Williams, now, will he have the title? If he loses the title, he's going to have that in the back of his mind. He's got to be thinking about a confrontation with The Undertaker. If I were Trick Williams, I would block that out and try to defend the TNA title this coming Sunday at Slammiversary. If not, all I can say is Undertaker. All I can say is The Undertaker's going to make you. You want to be made famous? Undertaker can do that easily. I wouldn't try. You want to try Undertaker? Guess what? You did. Uh-oh. Did I get him? Did I get him? Did I get him? Thought I got him. The fly going around. I think I got him. He's not flying around no more. Anyways, yeah. So Trick Williams had made a huge mistake, and next week, regardless of TNA title or no TNA title, you're gonna have a come to Jesus meeting with The Undertaker, and that's not a good thing, Trick Williams. If I were you, I would shut your mouth and listen to the dead man. You've done it now. You've done it. You really done it this time there, Trick Williams. You really done it. Yeah, dummy. You are such, as LA Knight's former alter ego, Eli Drake, once said, dummy. Yeah. Anyways. Then, Ava confronts Jasper Troy about his attack on Ricky Saints, and Jasper Troy's trying to defend himself, but he said, but you know what? Next week you'll have a one-on-one match with Ricky Saints. And then part 3, rise and fall of the D'Angelo family, and that's where Tony D'Angelo says this is where it all started. Tony D'Angelo right now is one title away from becoming the first ever NXT Grand Slam champion. He's held the tag titles. He's held the North American titles. He's held the Heritage Cup title. Now, he's only one title away. Will he be involved in the NXT title picture? We'll see. And then the family business triple threat match, Stax versus Luca Cristofino versus Tony D'Angelo. Now, during the matchup, I just realized there's somebody missing from this piece of the puzzle, and that's none other than Adriana Rizzo. Where is she? She's the one that set this whole thing up. Something is amiss here. Something is amiss. But, or did she decide to stay out of it and let the boys handle it? I think it's another smart move on her part. Question is, who she will be loyal to when all is said and done, right? Heck of a matchup, and I got him again. All right, who she will be loyal to, but in the end, Tony D'Angelo wins the matchup. And then Kelly Kincaid interviewed Lash Legend, and Lash Legend says she showed up, she showed out, she did what she did. Now the funny thing is, I said it, and I said it earlier. I think I said it last night on the Raw Live reaction that Lash Legend, based on that performance for the in that Battle Royal, becoming one of the last two to be in that Battle Royal, she should get a future NXT Women's title shot. And Kelly Kincaid talked to Lash Legend about the Battle Royal. She said, you know what? I'm going to keep an eye on the NXT TNA Knockouts, NXT Women's title and TNA Knockouts title, winner take all. And I think she wants to challenge the winner. But then Jada Parker interrupts her and said, you know what? I should be getting a shot. And I could have won that Battle Royal. And it seems like Lash Legend and Jada Parker, yes, please, sign that. Let's get that match signed up, man. we'll see what happens. TV on Heist confronts Wen Sinclair, asking her why she threw in the towel. But then Charlie Dempsey interrupts him. They start talking. Oh, that's all right. We still got a lot to learn and all that. And I'm just. It ain't about leaving the no quarter catch crew for him. It's about learning and take a shot. And then Ren Sinclair didn't announce that next week she will be the opponent for Blake Monroe's NXT singles debut matchup in Houston, Texas. And that's where Jordan Grace is from, isn't she? From Texas, Austin, Texas. And I'm sure the folks in Houston will probably greet her with a nice ovation. But this is, like you said, it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting when Jordan Grace arrives there next week. She was cordially invited by Blake Monroe. I think it looks like the women's title could be a logjam at the top. We'll see. We shall see. Then Josh Briggs comes out to address what happened in the Great American Bash. Oba Femi comes out, confronts Briggs, and as the two were arguing, Yoshiki Inamura interrupts both men, said, "Hey, I want to do this with honor. What you did was not cool and all." But then he decided, and then Josh Briggs said, "You know what? Let's settle this. Triple threat match." And then triple threat match, and Yoshiki Inamura agrees, and then Obafemi was like, why not? Oh, heck, why not? And then Josh Briggs fights off, starts brawling with Obafemi. They both accidentally hit Yoshiki Inamura. Yoshiki Inamura getting big. Everybody, security separate them all. That match will be set up for next week, as Obafemi will defend the title against both Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. So, then Ethan Page gloats about being still North American champion. He says he'll be there next week in Texas as well, in Houston, Texas. And he says, "God bless America." Is the man Canadian? Not the Canadian. Never mind. Anyways, I'm sure there's some people out in Canada that like America, but for different reasons, of course. And then Kelly Kincaid interviews Ricky Saints about him getting his hands on Jasper Troy, and Jasper Troy, he's gonna show Jasper Troy why he is who he is. So I'm looking excited now. All right. Red Sinclair, he says, "Hey, Jordan Grace, I know where you can find Blake next week. Since it's your home state, bring your whole family Pookie." Pookie? Oh, good Lord. Alright, give me a second here, because... And then The Undertaker tweeted this out on X.com. "Trick Williams, you disrespect my team, LFG team. You disrespect me. I'll be in H-Town next week with or without the TNA title. You might want to stay out of my yard." Trick Williams, if I were you, I would heed the words of The Undertaker. If you don't, there could be a body bag in a casket with your name on after a tombstone reverse pile driver if The Undertaker still has one left in him to do so. I know the man's retired, but who knows? If I were you, Trick Williams, I would stay out of The Undertaker's yard, man. Because you're going to get yours. Let me tell you something. So... And then Slamovich was talking to Ruka and Zarya before their matchup and say, "Hey, let's go out there and kick some butt." And in fact, so Ruka and Zarya are rooting for Monster Slamovich. And then the Culling talks about Ruka still being NXT champion. He said, "Don't worry about fun. Just don't feel hard. Don't be hard on yourself." So 6-woman tag becoming in the main event, and then tennis Lexus King with headphones. I don't know what he's scouting for. Zarya, So Ruka, the TNA Zarya, North American champion, and women's speed champ as well. So Ruka teaming up with the TNA Knockout champ Monster Slamovich against Fatal Influence. That'll be the team of NXT Women's Champ Jacy Jayne, Fallon Henley, and Jasmine Nix. And the culling gets involved during the matchup. So Ruka and Zarya took out the ladies in Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley. But then Hank and Tig decided to get Shawn Spears and Nico Vance, leaving Monster Slamovich all along. You think Slamovich would have the disadvantage, but she fought through it. But in the end, Slamovich does pick up the victory. And then was holding both titles for a bit. And then she gave the NXT Women's title back to Jacy Jayne. This Sunday, I'm taking it all, she says. And that will be something. So we all saw TNA presence already. Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. The System got involved. And Monster Slamovich. So hopefully we see more of that. Like I said, Dark State versus the System Survivor Series elimination matchup. We got to expend that invasion, that crossover. You know, I say this, Survivor Series should be a Mega Worlds Collide type of deal. Get TNA and AAA involved, you know. One of these days, I'm hoping that, you know, all the major lab for like an Ultimate Survivor Series World Cup. I like to see that. You know, I had an idea for an Ultimate Survivor Series World Cup matchup, the ladies division. Let's go Team Japan. You got Asuka, your team captain, Kairi Sane, Io Sky, Julia, and you put Hikaru Shida in there. What if one of them gets injured? The alternate, Mina Shirakawa. How about this for the opposition, Team Australia? Rhea Ripley, your team captain. Timeless Tony Storm. Harley Cameron, and the Iconic Inspiration. One of them gets injured or is not cleared to compete. I put in Indy Hartwell as an alternate. How about that, you know? How about, let me see, you know, how about this? The Four Horsewomen of WWE. You know, get Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Mercedes Moné, and Bayley against, I would say, well, I don't know. Against Team Canada, so to speak. Natalia, Chelsea Green, Trish Stratus, and who was it? Oh, it's also from Canada. Besides those three. I'm trying to think who else is from Canada besides the three I just mentioned. Shoot. Hold up, I got an idea. I'm Googling this one. No, that's not what I want, you dummy. Alright, Trish, Natty. Oh, that's right, Maurice and Gail Kim. Duh. Yeah, you know, okay, here's the deal. Let's go. Another Survivor Series World Cup. You got the Four Horsewomen, add Tessa Blanchard being the fifth horsewoman versus Team Canada. Trish Stratus, Team Captain, Natalia, Neidhart, Chelsea Green, Maurice, and Ariana Grace, and Gail Kim. No, holy crap. No, I have an idea. Forget Ariana Grace, Trish, Natty, Chelsea, Gail, and Taya Valkyrie. There you go. That would be great. Anyways, so that's all the time we have on this episode. Episode 2393, 2393. The show like this is seven more episodes. 2400. Tomorrow we got the Joker's Wild. Gonna spin that one-arm bandit and punching the devil in the face while doing it. And we got Evolve and Dynamite. The fallout from All In Texas. We'll see what happens there. So I will see you guys later. You guys have a wonderful day. And until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and do it for Bob Saget production and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.